Hey guys, what's up? It's day 2 of Fix the Big Hole in the Boat, and it's April 8th today. And that's important because the launch day for this club that I'm in, we do like 40 or 50 or however many boats there are now. We do them all in one day. We hire a crane, the crane comes down, pop, 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 put them all in. And going in is the easy part. I think somebody's hollering at me. Okay, I'm back. Sorry, I'm at the yacht club. Everybody's here doing boat work, and everybody always like knocks on the hull and needs something or wants to offer help or whatever it is. Anyway, it's April 8th, and that's important because as a club, we were going to launch on April 17th. And the crane comes, you do every boat in one day, which means you have a deadline. If you have a hole in your boat or have to do bottom paint or anything under the waterline, your deadline is crane day. And you need to obviously give it time to dry or whatever it is you're doing. So the weather gets warm, and then you have usually around 2 weeks before the crane comes. So you have that 2-week window, most of which it rains. So it's like, it's really stressful for us, and it's really crunch time for everybody here. Now, that said, Ontario, as of today, went into lockdown, full on lockdown. So the computer store that I work at, we're doing curbside only because we are essential. Because we service some schools in the area for technology needs, and all the people working from home and everything. Obviously, computer tech is essential to keep everything moving. So I am still working. Today I left at noon to come here because it's a sunny day. It's supposed to rain by like 4 o'clock. Anyway, the thing is, we might get delayed because we don't know if a boat club, which we're not a marina, we're a yacht club, so we don't know if a boat club is going to be allowed to actually operate and launch all the boats during lockdown. And then the second thing is, we don't know if the crane guy who has to drive the crane all the way here from like 40 miles away, we don't know if he's going to be allowed to operate during the lockdown. So there's a lot of ifs right now. And it's sort of worrying because last year we lost, I think, 6 or 7 weeks to the lockdown we had last year. We had to delay our launch. This year, though, I'm kind of on the fence about it because a little piece of me is saying, hey, if we delay 2 weeks, 3 weeks, whatever it is, I can get more boat work done because that little window that we have where, you know, it's not raining and it's warm enough to paint or do glass work got longer. So I'm kind of like, you know, if that happens, that's not the end of the world. So today we're here, and you saw before I made the little gasket out of plastic that we're going to use on the outside of that transducer to make it sort of flush and fit so that water doesn't leak. I have some Interlux Watertight, which is a 2-part filler that you mix together. It's almost like Bondo, except it's Interlux Watertight, so it's a lot better than Bondo. So that's going to go on the outside so that any gaps or any cracks or anything, any imperfections actually get sealed when I tighten down the thing, the transducer. On the inside, I'm not making a washer. What I'm going to do is build it up with chop strand mat to the point where it's flat across the V. Completely flat, the width of the nut that needs to tighten down. And then I can block sand it to make sure it's absolutely perfect. And then there's a washer that comes with the transducer that's going to go there. And then, of course, the whole thing's going to be coated with 4200 to make sure it doesn't leak. Now, is this whole thing ideal? No. Should they have put a transducer in the V of the hull? Probably not. Could I relocate it to a flat spot near the back? That's what Jay did on his Hughes 38. He put it in a semi-flat spot at the back. So you get a little bit skewed reading on the depth, but you sort of get used to it. And then it, you know, it's a functional depth sounder. It works. It's great. But then I have to patch the big hole in the front, and it's a hole on a V, which, I mean, is in and of itself difficult. So I might as well just put a transducer there because that's difficult anyway. So that's sort of where I'm at. That's why I'm not relocating it, because I feel like that's the best location for it. You're in front of the keel that way, and it's sort of straight up and down, and it points straight at the ground. So ideally, that's where you want your depth sounder, in front of the keel, so you know the depth before the keel hits it, and the hole's already there. And putting the transducer or patching the hole, equally difficult. Patching the hole is probably more difficult. So step 1, let's go check it out. All right, so I'm sure you can see the boat is a disaster right now. It's just stuff everywhere, right, from last season. Anyway, here's the plan. I don't know if you're going to be able to see very well. Yeah, I guess you will. So I'm going to build up right here and right here and sort of around it so that it's a flat and level plane for the nut to clamp down on it. So the first thing I need to do is sand this down. I need to get down to bare fiberglass, and this is going to be sort of some sort of bilge coat that's on there. So I'm going to sand it down with just a regular DeWalt DA to the point where I have glass, like pure fiberglass. And then I'm going to start laying glass mat, mostly in the low parts of the V, to the point where it's built up almost level. And I think the first thing I'm going to do, I'm going to take this out, obviously. Nothing's holding it in right now. I'm going to put the nut there, and I'm going to trace the shape of the nut so I know how big I need to build up the flat surface. And once I've traced the shape of the nut and sort of the angled lines at its widest, then I'm going to sort of sand it all out, trace the nut again, and then start building up with chop strand. That way we get a nice flat mating surface. We've got a lot to work with here. There's a lot of stem sticking up. I don't know if you can see. We got a couple inches of stem sticking up anyway, so I can build up quite a bit. Like if I have to build up a whole inch, I can. And then we'll have a nice glass pad right there, and it'll be bonded to the existing hull. And then 4200 will fill the whole stem, obviously, when it all goes together. So I think it's going to work out pretty good. There's probably a better way to do this. If you know of a better way to do this, please hit it up in the comments below, because I mean, by that time it'll probably be too late. But I'd like to know what your thoughts are on how I'm doing this job. And then also, if we do get delayed, I'm going to pull out that paddle wheel too, which is 5200 in. So I'm going to have to cut it out. And then I'm going to actually patch that hole permanently because I don't want a paddle wheel anyway. All right. It's going to get hot today. It's supposed to be 24, which is, for you guys that speak in Fahrenheit, I'd say that's 75. So a bit above room temperature. So I'm going to open all the hatches, and we're going to get to sanding. Let's do some work. Okay guys, I've done some sanding. I got a nice swatch cleared. You can see it's all right down to the glass where it needs to be, and that should give me enough room to lay up all the way around that hole. I actually might do a little more sanding right here. I'd like to have like a big square is ideal. And then when I'm done, I'm going to be laying up chop strand because it builds up fast. I think it's 1 ounce or 1 1/4 ounce chop strand. And I'm going to use polyester resin as opposed to epoxy. Now, you guys have seen me do a lot of work on this boat with epoxy. This I'm using polyester for a couple of reasons. One, the boat was laid up with polyester in 1980, so it's completely compatible, and it's what the boat is built out of, so that's fine. The other one is it's a lot cheaper, and COVID's been brutal, so I'm kind of broke. I'm not going to go spend, you know, what is it, 150, 175 a gallon on West System epoxy when I don't need to. And the other thing is, the cure time for polyester is a lot quicker. So there's that. I got the heat gun in the trunk too, just in case I got to kick it off a little bit, but it's supposed to be above room temperature today, so I think it's going to kick just fine. So I'm going to sand a little bit more and get like a nice square cut out in there so that I can lay some little bit bigger glass, and we're just going to build up the hull right in that spot, right in the V, build up the hull to the point where it's flat and level. And then I'm going to try not to cover the hole. I could, I suppose, just lay big squares and then re-drill the hole after, but I'm actually going to try to just work around the hole and like let it overhang into the hole, and then I can sand it off after. That should be fine. So a little more sanding. Oh, hey guys. Day 3 of boat work. It's cold this morning. It's only 9:30 in the morning, and it's like 11 degrees, which I don't know what that is in Fahrenheit. Less ideal. I don't know, maybe 60. I got to do glass work. I got to finish laying up that hole. I have 1 week. We were talking about delaying the launch. We are not delaying the launch. It's just going to be really restricted because Ontario's on lockdown, so masks and all that stuff. Only people on the property when their boat's launching, and of course the launch crew. So I got to get this hole done. And after talking to a lot of you guys on YouTube and Facebook and different things, getting advice, I'm not going to do the plastic washer on the outside. I'm actually going to build it up with glass. So I'm going to thicken the hull on either side of that hole. Thicken the hull to maybe 1 inch thick. It's already probably 3/4, half or 3/4 thick. So we're going to thicken it up quite a bit on both sides of the hole, and then sand it down on both sides of the hole so we have more to work with. So today we're just laying glass, and one of the big problems I'm having is getting mixing cups or getting paint brushes to do the glass work, because those are deemed non-essential items as far as most stores are concerned. You can't buy that stuff. So I was able to get 2 packages of chip brushes. I've got a couple of solo cups. I like using these for mixing. And then also, if I run out of solo cups to mix in, I brought everything out of my recycling bin at home. So like pop bottles, orange juice containers, anything I can get my hands on, cut it in half, then I've got 2 more mixing cups. So every time the epoxy kicks, I got to throw out the mixing cup. So I'm going to need a lot of mixing cups. Anyway, I'm going to, the work I did the other day, I'm going to sand the hole open again, and then I'm going to install the depth sounder in like probably half an hour and see where I stand on the inside. I'm probably about halfway done, but I want to see where the low spots are, where I need to put more glass. So that's the plan right now. Okay guys, I'm all messy. The boat is just parts and fiberglass repair stuff everywhere, but let me show you where I'm at so far. Just on the inside so far. And it smells a lot like fiberglass in here. Okay, so what we're looking at is the layup I've done. So a whole bunch here, a whole bunch here, quite a bit on the sides too, mostly in the V though, to try and bring it as flat as I can. So it looks like it's probably enough now. I'm a little concerned about how the glass dips toward the hole as we get toward the hole, but I might be able to do something with some filler or something afterwards. We'll see how it sands out. So the plan is, you see I kind of covered the hole a little bit, but I'll punch that out, and I use the Dremel to sort of just recreate the hole afterwards. So the plan is, now I'm going to go outside. I'm going to sand down the glass on the outside, on either side of the hole, as the V goes up. And then I'm going to start a build up with just chop strand mat. I got lots of little pieces ripped and laying around. I'm going to start the build up on either side of the hole. So the V, I can raise it up on either side of the hole a little bit, and then I can block sand it afterwards to make a nice flat pad where the transducer is going to sit. And I've already got it done on the inside to the point where I can block sand the inside, which I think I'm actually going to use the Dremel with a sanding disc on it. But I'll be able to make a flat pad on the inside. So we should end up with probably an inch thick of a pad where the V is, built up on either side with glass, an inch thick. And then on the outside of the boat, I can bevel that to make it more hydrodynamic or whatever we need to do. And then seal it all with epoxy barrier coat afterwards so that the water can't protrude into the fiberglass. That's the plan right now. It's kind of an overcast day. I'll show you guys what we're dealing with here. It's not super warm, so I've been using the heat gun quite a bit. Working in that little locker down there, I can fill it with the heat gun, fill it full of hot air, and then put the lid on it, so it stays warm in the locker quite reliably. So the epoxy's all starting to kick. No, not epoxy, it's polyester. We talked about this, I'm using polyester. It's all starting to kick now, so it's starting to harden up in there, especially in there where I've been spraying the heat gun inside the locker. That's been a really good thing. So that'll kick and set up over the course of the day today. Even though it's a little cooler outside, I'll keep pumping the heat gun in there. But I'm going to go outside and sand. I don't know if I'll be able to do glass work today on the outside of the boat because it is a little bit cool outside, and I don't think that it's going to actually set up very well. And it's hard to keep it, obviously, warm out there. So that's where we're at right now. I'm not loving it, but you know, it is what it is. Go outside and do some sanding. The storm seems to have passed. That's eastbound. So we got predominant wind out of the west on the Great Lakes. So that storm is headed toward, you know, London, Ontario or something. So that's good. Anyway, back at it. Hey guys, it's another day at the boat. Oh man. So I got some bad news. The company where I work, I was one of the co-founders back in 2013 with my friend Mike. So COVID killed us. We got to close the store. So super sad. We're going to finish out the month of April, and then we're going to shut the doors permanently, I guess. So we're not going to have a job or a car. So yeah, not great news, especially not now when it's like boat launch week and I'm stressed out about getting the boat ready and everything like that in the middle of a lockdown in Ontario. So not great news. I'm not super thrilled. Kind of got me down a little bit, but anyway, I'm here. I left work early. It's a nice day, super warm, good day for glass work. Let me show you where we ended up last time. I laid up a whole bunch of glass on the inside. See there? So as you can see, like the hole's covered a little bit, so I'm just going to punch through it with a hole saw real quick. And on the outside, I did the same thing. I laid up a whole bunch of glass on either side of the hole, so I'll show you guys that. So today the plan is punch through it with a hole saw, then use the Dremel to, you know, make the hole come back. to the appropriate size. It's pretty easy because it's not very thick glass over the hole. I was pretty careful. Once it's all cleaned out, I'm going to install the through hull, and we're going to see how it sits and everything, and see where I have to sand and take some down, and then grab the sander and we're going to flatten it on the bottom, flatten it on the top, and hope that we don't need any more glass. So let's get it done. Okay, we're outside. I got a little tarp set up to block the wind because it was a little cool yesterday. Here we are. So you see my buildup. There's a pad here now, you know, thicker. So I'd be able to have more glass to grind out and hopefully make a flat surface. So yeah, let's get some sanding done. I got to punch through that with the hole saw, and then Dremel, and then sanding. Okay, we almost down to original hull right here and right here, which is good. The buildup is really, really good. Got this whole pad, so it's gonna work out really well. It actually fits really good. I'll show you guys. Beautiful. And then we'll just clean up the edges after. Oh, okay. Got it sanded flat, and I just coated it with this. Little Interlux 2000 barrier coat, which seals the fiberglass so that the water doesn't protrude into the fiberglass. Here you go. Anyway, it's flat on both sides. The transducer sits flat entirely, which is nice. On the outside and the inside, it actually looks really good. I'm really super happy with how it turned out. Yeah, I think that's it for today. Got some extra Interlux, don't know what to do with it. It's gonna go to waste, sadly. Everybody else has done all their stuff. I offered it to people, but I actually got it from my friend Ron. So, nothing. Anyway, next up is I'm going to come back tomorrow and actually install, once that's cured, I'm going to install the through hull. And then I've got to figure out where I'm going to mount the screen. This deal. Not sure. I'll show you guys what the boat used to have. This thing. So it was depth and speed. And there's an odometer, which reads almost 50,000. The problem with that is really, really old technology. That's original to the boat, and the new transducer will not talk to that thing, so have to use the screen. Had to buy the one that comes with the screen and all that stuff. Yeah, that's next. Figure out where to put the screen. We only have 30 feet of cable, and we have to get from that locker up there to where I can see it back there. So that's going to be a whole challenge in and of itself, but that's an in the water challenge, and it's I think it's Tuesday today, and we launch on Saturday, so this needs to get done, and I can do the screen once the boat's in the water. It's much easier, no ladder to go up and down and all that kind of stuff. So I will see you guys, probably next episode will be launch day. The boat will be in the water the next time you see me. See you guys.